All right, everybody, welcome back to the best hour of their day. Fern here. This is a special Saturday episode, and I'm here with Bear Handlon, who is the owner, co-founder of Born Primitive, and pretty fortunate. They are actually about 20 minutes from my gym is where their headquarters is at. So they're doing something really cool, which I want to dive into with Bear and talk about what they're doing and why that initiative started. But first of all, I know you guys are super busy right now, so thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Heck yeah, man. Happy to be here.
Very cool. So I feel like a turd because it's taken me this long to get into your shop, and it's literally like 15 minutes from my house. So,
all good, man. No drama.
I know my wife's been here, so but it's interesting because you guys are an interesting story because I mean I don't think it's a stretch to say that you guys are kind of a household name in the CrossFit community at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to get there. We started about 6 years ago, and honestly,
Has it been 6 years?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Damn. Okay.
First couple of years was literally us going to every CrossFit event on every weekend we could find, and literally card table and T-shirts, and everything could fit in my Jeep, and it was every weekend just hustling. And I was competing at the time too, so I would go in and compete and come out and be selling T-shirts in between.
That's awesome.
I did that at 2 regionals too, which is pretty funny.
That's the hustle, man.
So, yeah, it's been a wild ride, man. But obviously we still got a long way to go. But I do feel we've earned some credibility in the space, and it's been a lot of fun along the way.
Well, I don't think the initiative that we're going to talk about is going to hurt that credibility either. But yeah, so like, how long were you guys? So we're in this is a decent sized warehouse, but how long were you guys in the garage?
I would say we were in the garage for the first 3.5 years, and then the last 6 months of that took over the entire house. Literally boxes stacked 6 high, every guest room, and it just got absolutely absurd. So
at some point, you're like,
we were like, all right, I think it's time to grow up and sign a lease. So we signed a lease for a facility here, and then we outgrew it within a year and had to double the size.
Was it in the same building?
Yeah, same building. We just punched over one more unit.
We did that at our affiliate about 3 years ago. So yeah, that's convenient. You don't have to pick up everything and move.
Exactly.
But yeah, I can't even imagine. Because, I mean, even when you guys are in the garage, I mean, everybody was wearing your stuff, and I can't imagine anybody. So my background is logistics, so I'm thinking about all the shipping and receiving and all the inventory management, and that's just a nightmare.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you'd have boxes stacked literally 6 high, and then you'd realize, like, you need to grab, like, an extra small sports bra, and, of course, it's at the bottom box, in the bottom corner, and you're like, damn it.
So we're like, well, we got to rearrange the house.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a lot of that, but, I think that's part of it. You got to earn your keep, and you gotta do it the old-fashioned way, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of other brands that have started with huge capital investments, and they were really fancy right off the bat. That's definitely not our story. We self-funded it and kind of just grinded away little by little.
Yeah, I mean that's always a very intriguing story. So I think anybody who's ever started or owned a business appreciates that bootstrap kind of mentality. And so how does somebody want to get into, so anybody who does apparel knows that it's kind of a mess on the back end if you've ever been anywhere involved in that industry. How did you guys get into that? You're just like, hey, I think we should do an apparel line.
Yeah, so it's pretty funny, actually. So I was competing at CrossFit. I was able to get out to the games one year. I was at a gym that was really competitive, and I fell into it. I got really lucky. Had never done CrossFit, but loved it right away. So we were lifting heavy a lot, and when I was doing snatch, I was drilling my pubic bone, like when I would go heavy. So I did some research and realized it's pretty common, fairly common in Olympic lifting. So I took an old football girdle, cut out my quad pads, and had my neighbor, who's a seamstress, stitch it into an old pair of Nike compression shorts.
Yeah.
And put it above, where the pubic bone is.
Yep.
And started wearing them just for my own, training, because I was getting bruised up, and I would have to take days off from not lifting heavy.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, everyone at the gym was like, "Hey, you should sell those. You should make them." And it was kind of just a joke at first, and then so I was like, you know what? So I made a couple hundred pairs. Went through the supply chain, that whole process, and figured it out. And that was actually our first product. They're called the Snatch Shorts.
Really?
Yeah. So we and it was kind of wild. We were getting people from internationally buying them. We weren't really marketing it. It was just kind of marketing itself. So we were kind of like, this is kind of neat.
Yeah.
But still kind of a hobby. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It really wasn't serious. And then after about 6 months into that, we realized, okay, this is cool, but long term it would be a lot cooler to build a brand.
Yeah.
And at the time, the company's name was Snatch Shorts LLC. And I was like, okay, no one's going to buy something that's like that's a product name. That's not a brand name.
Yeah.
So we did an all stop and reset, and then incorporated Born Primitive LLC, and then Snatch Shorts was just one of our products. But then we got more into like building a brand, like, you know, then T-shirts and things like that. And then eventually we got into women's stuff, which really, you know, was a turning point for us. And yeah, obviously you probably see us now. We have, you know, we're probably like 75% females.
I was going to say, I thought your first product was, at least when I noticed the brand, was when the bras hit the market. And you guys kind of cornered that for like a hot minute. And then I saw there was a lot of people who tried to basically follow suit on that. So.
Yeah, that was 2 years in. I think that was at the 2016 games.
Sounds about right.
We took a crazy idea and said, let's go to the games. You know, we had a little 10 by 10. I think, you know, it was 2 of us there. Like, it was, you know, we're still figuring it out. But that was when we launched our first sports bra, and kind of for us, the rest is history. But a lot to get to that point. But yeah, the Snatch Shorts, that was it. That was our first product.
I did not
We still
know
sell
that.
them, believe it or not. You know, they market themselves. It's a very niche audience.
Yeah.
But you know, people that do Olympic weightlifting that drill their pubic bone there, it's a game changer.
Yeah, there's I do know, like, I mean, it is what it is. A lot of people do it, but there's some Olympic lifting coaches out there who are cringing. They're just like, fix your technique.
Exactly, 100%. And I get that, but some of us, you know, we got long limbs, torso length.
I'm
like,
not hating
it is
on
what
anybody.
it is.
I'm not hating on anybody. It
Yeah.
just is what it is.
Yeah.
I know John North was big on that. But no, that's really cool. And then, so 6 years you guys have been in here, and I mean, this has been, so like, I mean, it's okay to talk about it, but like, you're still active duty and kind of doing this on the side as well. Like, so, and I can empathize with that because I left active duty in 2015. So that was probably 5 years into our affiliate. I was doing the same thing. I was traveling for seminars and, you know, still working. My wife is still active duty, stuff like that. So that's not a small commitment on the side. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no, absolutely. It's definitely presented a lot of challenges. You know, I'm active duty first. Like, that's the number one priority.
Yep.
I don't want to say this is a side gig because it by no means is, but you know, time management's extremely important.
Yeah.
You know, typically I get up early and do BP in the morning before work, and then I go to what I call work, you know, the military job, and then at night, you know, I get a quick pump in, and then I'm right back on it, you know, doing BP till usually 11, 12 o'clock at night. And that's just my normal rhythm now. Like, I know nothing different, so it's really not a big deal to me.
Yeah.
You know, my parents and my friends think I'm crazy, but, you know, right now I can manage it. So I'm gonna run it into the ground hard until I run out of gas. And
Listen,
then
burn it until you as long as you can.
Exactly. So you know, obviously it creates a little bit more stress at times if I have a bad day at work, and then I come in and we have a, you know, supply chain issue, or, you know, in a compound, so I gotta kind of, you know, reel that in, and, you know, it can be a little taxing at times.
Yeah,
but,
I get it. You have to do some self-evaluation in case you be like, hey, am I losing my shit right now?
Exactly.
Or what's going on?
But it's all good, man. So far, it's manageable. It's, you know, it's just a lot, but it's been pretty fulfilling.
That's awesome. Was Born Primitive the first name you guys picked, or what did that look like?
So
that's a catchy brand.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
it's done really well for you guys.
So
I'm
it
always
was,
curious
like I
about that.
told you, it was Snatch Shorts, and then we're like, okay, we need a brand name, and I wanted to tap into the idea that, like, you know, our ancestors thousands of years ago, like, they were way more savage than we were, right?
Yeah.
Like, they were like hunting for their food and, like, you know what I mean, fighting to survive. And I was like, that instinct is still in us somewhere, but we've been domesticated so much, and we have all these modern comforts. Like, I think it's kind of like silenced a little bit. But, like, you know, I feel like when we all hit a workout, or, you know, you tap back into that innate instinct that you have, and I wanted to come up with a brand name that, like, kind of spoke to that. So we threw a bunch of names around, and finally we landed on Born Primitive, because, like, I think when you're born, like, when you come out of the womb, you haven't been domesticated yet, so you have it at that moment. You have it, and then, you know, as you get coddled as a child and brought up, you know, you kind of lose that.
Well, that's interesting because I really dig it. That's interesting because that's actually part of, like, in the level 1 course we talk about that, like, just functional movements in general, like, they're natural, and somewhere along the way we mess it up, because it's just as far as movement patterns in general. No, that's really cool. I did want to bring this up. So I was looking at some marketing material that you guys have, and it has the lion and the gazelle in there.
Yeah.
Which is, most people don't know this, but, like, that story is a staple and was a staple in my household growing up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, that was a big thing that, like, my dad was big on and taught, and he was just like, listen, he's like, get up, get to work. And if you haven't heard that, like, go listen to it or just go read it. It's super short. It's like, you know, 4 sentences. But I really thought that was cool. And, like, every time I see that, I'm like, That's good shit.
Yeah, and that summarizes the mindset perfectly. You know what I mean? That the fable of the lion and the gazelle, and that's kind of what we're trying to tap into.
That's awesome. Yeah. They're very cool. Well, I want to switch gears here. I want to talk about what you guys are doing, right? So this initiative, and particularly, so obviously, and we were chatting before we hit record about, most of the brands in the CrossFit space are born out of CrossFit. Like, they would not exist, and it's really cool to see, people like you and brands like you who recognize that and are like, hey, this is our opportunity to give back in that scenario. So tell me a little bit about what you guys got going on and how you guys are trying to help.
Yeah, so obviously, these are unprecedented times. I know the gym owners are struggling right now. I mean, obviously, they had to shut down their doors. I know some people are canceling memberships, which if you're listening and you're one of those people, if you can financially support it, please stick with your gyms. And that's the most important thing, I think, right now, if you can. But as soon as this started to spin up, the wheels were turning in my head. Okay, what can we do to give back? We have built this platform, and we now have the privilege to be able to do that. And like you said, like most of the brands that are in CrossFit, and we're obviously not just a CrossFit brand, but that is where we are born. That's where our roots are. Like, we would not exist if it weren't for the growth of CrossFit. And we came in 6 years ago when it's still fairly early, and we've grown with the brand. And we've been in it the whole time, going to the games, going to Palooza, going to everything. Every year, it's part of what we're doing. And the gym owner and the members are the foundation of all that. If they didn't exist, if we didn't have the gym owners, that none of this would exist. And I think there's, at this point, probably over 100 brands right now that I could look at and tell them that with a straight face. Like, that's
easily
that's the truth.
Easily. You can't even debate that.
Yeah.
Like, you would not. I mean, like, and Rogue's one of them.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, the biggest brand in CrossFit would not exist without CrossFit.
100%. And obviously, there's more to success with a company than just like falling in the right place, right time. But you definitely cannot deny the fact that if it weren't for the growth of the brand and the gym owners that came up with it, like there's no way we would be where we are today. So with that, I was just wrestling around. It was keeping me up, and I was wrestling around with, okay, what can we do to give back? However, we were getting hit financially too, because overnight everyone stopped shopping. You know what I mean? And obviously we're
so you guys felt that too?
Because,
because largely you guys are online. You don't have a brick and mortar outside of this anywhere.
Not really. We have some retailers that sell our stuff.
Yeah.
But we are direct to consumer.
Okay.
But literally overnight, that one Monday where the market went down 9%, it was like crickets. And then it was really alarming. So while I'd love to be able to just open up our checkbook and do that. Like, it needs to be done differently, because we obviously couldn't financially do that either, because we were hurting as well. So we started initially with doing just 10% of sales back to the Meals on Wheels. They had a COVID-19 response fund, which is really cool. It's going to old people that are delivering meals, and we thought that was pretty neat. So just to get us moving, I said, let's at least give back 10% of sales while we're thinking of like an affiliate concept. And then Dave from O2, the owner, he reached out to me via text over the weekend, and he said, hey, this is something we had in mind. We were going to do 50% of our profits. And I thought it was a great idea. So we got on the phone, we talked it through, and then we had a pretty grand idea of, okay, let's try to get a bunch of brands involved. Let's make it, we were calling it the Community Coalition, which hopefully you guys will see more about in the coming weeks. But basically, getting all those brands that we mentioned to all get on board, and with one mission of giving back to the CrossFit gym owners who have supported us the whole way. Sorry, we got an F-18 flying.
It's
over
America,
there.
everybody. That's what freedom sounds like.
Quick pause here. But we wanted to move quick, so we sent out a bunch of feelers. We did get some replies, but it wasn't quite the buy-in we wanted. So him and I got together, and they had actually already gone live with their 50% off.
Okay.
So they're doing 50% off of their drinks.
Got it.
In addition to that, they're doing 50% of profits from that goes back to the gym, which is just awesome. And so ours is a little bit different. Ours gets free shipping from our site, but then 50% of the profits goes back to the gym owner.
Got it.
And every gym gets their own promo code, which is really cool. They can go to our landing page on our website, and they can type in their gym name, and if that code's been generated, which it should be, it'll pop up, and then they can put that out to all their members.
One of my members did it before I even found out it was a thing. He sent me the code. He's like, I submitted you guys. Here's your thing. I was like, holy shit, this is going on. So
pretty neat. So
it was really cool.
With the help of Dave, they actually pre-generated like over 7,000 promo codes based on all the CrossFit gyms all across the country. So they're pre-generated. So all we have to do is like a Control F and find your code, and then it pops up.
Nice.
So pretty cool. And now we have the search function on the site, so we don't even have to email us anymore. They can actually look to get their own. And if for some reason they're not on the list, they can just email us and fill out the form, and we get it back to them within an hour or two.
Yeah.
And it's not just CrossFit gyms. We obviously we have a background in fitness too. I was a football player, conventional weightlifting and bench, deadlift, and squat. Like that's my game too. So we also want to support any local gym. It doesn't have to be just a CrossFit thing. And it's been cool to see that as well. We've had a lot of those people reach out to us that are local gym owners that are unaffiliated that have been all about this as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this is gonna drop on a Saturday, and there's a time frame. So give everybody like here's the logistics and the time frame and what you can do.
Yeah, a great question. So it's live right now. So if you're listening on this on Saturday, you're good to go. If you go to bornprimitive.com, all the details are there. As mentioned, O2 is also participating, so the code will work on both sites.
Oh, it's the same code.
Yeah, same exact code.
Got it.
So if you've gotten their code already from them, you can use it on BP and vice versa. If you hit us up and we get you a special code, that instantly will work on O2.
Got it.
So the systems are synced, which is really neat.
Okay.
So yeah, it's that simple. We recommend putting it out to your members. Put it on the Facebook page, Instagram page. We're also even building some creative products that we're going to be giving to gyms that they want to post it.
That's cool.
To just kind of
like marketing stuff.
Yeah, marketing
got
materials
it.
that kind of summarizes it and has some cool branding, and they can insert their gym's promo code in like the blank, and then they could put it out.
That's cool.
So pretty neat. But yeah, from Saturday when people are listening or onward, it's going to end April 5th, which I think is a Sunday.
I think it's the following Sunday.
Yeah,
so you have about
Sunday.
a week from when this drops.
The total promotion's running 10 days, which is it's aggressive.
Yeah.
I was wrestling with do we do like a Fast and Furious 3 days? But then I wanted to make sure we gave everyone enough time to hear about it. And the last thing I want to do is have someone reach out to us on 10 p.m. on the third day and say hey, you have 2 hours to shop. So we said screw it, let's make it long and we'll see how it goes. This is pretty unprecedented. And I'm hoping I don't regret it. You know what I mean?
So I think that's worth noting, because I'm sure there's some turd out there who doesn't know anything about business or who is just grumpy because they still live in their grandma's basement or something like that. But somebody out there is going to be like, oh, this is a money grab by this company to do sales. And I think it's worth addressing that, if you know anything about business without even asking you anything about your numbers, that's significant.
Yeah.
It's a significant commitment to affiliates.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm not going to lie. Like I said earlier, this has affected us really negatively as well. So, yes, there's a promotional aspect to this, but it is rooted in the end goal of giving back to the affiliates, right? We don't have the big marketing dollars like a Reebok does and be able to pump out millions. We're a small family-owned brand still. We have 16 employees. We're doing really well, but that doesn't mean we can just start shelling out cash.
Yeah.
So there is absolutely a marketing aspect to this, but done in a way that's organic to our space and what I hope will build credibility with affiliate owners with us, because it's a genuine act that we're trying to help them out. I mean, I hope at the end of this we're cutting out big checks to these businesses, and that's creating a long-lasting relationship, and them hitting us up and being hey, thank you, because this is huge for us. Just bridging that gap from now until whenever that they're able to go back to work. And honestly, I'm also hoping there's a copycat effect here too, where other brands are oh damn, that's a bold move. We got to do something too because Born Primitive is doing it, and it kind of gets everyone. Even if we're competitors, that's totally fine. At the end of the day, I'd love to have 30 brands doing this.
Yeah.
And then after April 5th or whenever their duration is, affiliates are just getting checks from all these different brands that have been supported by these owners all along the way. If that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense, and it's something I was just kind of just thinking about this more. So I got that email from one of my members yesterday, and then I got a bunch of other ones. So RockFit's doing something, you guys are doing something, O2's doing some stuff, and then there's a couple other ones that I saw on there too. And then obviously Matt O'Keefe was on the podcast yesterday, and you were on that call with him the other day, and they're doing some really cool stuff. And I think it's an interesting dynamic, because a lot of people crap or poo-poo on CrossFit because it's not this franchise model where you get all of this support. But the reality is, if it was, all of these other brands wouldn't be able to kind of swoop in here and help and do that. And it's really refreshing to see that, and it kind of gives I own an affiliate and have done well over the years, but it still scares the shit out of you. You still look at it and you're 30 days, that's literally, like you said, unprecedented. I've never not been open for more than like 48 hours. So it's freaking out thinking about cancellations, but then you see all these bigger brands that are coming in. They'll be like, hey, listen, we're going to do what we can to help you. And, when we were texting yesterday, you kind of asked me, like, hey, what do you think? And I'm like, I think it's great. I think anybody that's doing anything to support the affiliates at this point, like, deserves a pat on the back, which is why I had texted you immediately when I found that out. So I think it's awesome, and I think it will be a copycat or this kind of like slow rolling snowball effect, because as we kind of started with this podcast, none of these businesses would be around without affiliates.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like what's good for the goose is good for the gander type thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to give a plug to Matt O'Keefe at Loud and Live. They are planning something big, and it was super cool. I was on a call, a big Zoom call. Everyone's using Zoom right now, right?
Zoom's
I should have invested in Zoom
exactly,
a couple of weeks ago. Damn. But there was like 350 plus people on that call, and it was literally, I was looking down like the participants list, just key players from all over the industry. Really neat. And Loud and Live, I think, is spearheading this effort, and I think there's going to be more to follow in a week or two. But that was incredible to see, and just seeing everyone being all in and the same goal, competitors alike. Like, it didn't matter. So I don't want to downplay that other brands are getting involved, because it is absolutely happening, and it's super neat to see. And the advantage of CrossFit is it's such a connected community that it can be reached quickly, right?
It does not take long for that to kind of like
exactly.
Like I was just so how fast it happened. So I got a code from one of my members that they had generated. So then I generated an email and sent like a couple different things in there, and immediately got a response back from one of our members. She's like, "I've been waiting all day for you to send this email," and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm behind,"
Hell yeah.
So yeah, 100%, I agree with you. But the so what's your relationship with O2? Like, how do you know those guys?
So we met them at events, over the years. We're all going to all the same events, and when you're vendors, you end up making friends. You do trades, trade apparel for drinks and that sort of thing. So I don't know how long ago it was, but I met Dave and his crew maybe a couple years ago. But they're in Ohio. We were based in Indiana, so Midwest people, great people over there, and we've just stayed in touch ever since. So
that's really cool.
When they started this, he texted me, and I thought it was a brilliant idea. And that kind of made that light bulb go off finally. Like, I was searching for what that answer was, and that was like, that's it. I'm all in, man. And then we talked over the weekend, and we were planning it all out all weekend long, so it was pretty neat.
That's awesome. And then, were you guys one of the title sponsors for Wodapalooza?
Yeah. So we were the title apparel sponsor.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So for the past 2 years, and we'll do it again next year. And we get tasked with making all the crazy official merchandise, and we had a lot of fun with it because their branding is so neat and cool, with the Miami vibe going on.
Well, I feel like that's a good marriage for you guys.
Oh yeah,
in the apparel that you guys make.
100%.
Yeah.
So that's been a blast. I mean, that was me throwing a Hail Mary a couple of years ago. I ran into O'Keefe at a Tough Mudder, and we're friends. Matt started his brand the same time I did. Red Line.
Yeah.
And we became friends because we were buddy. We had our 10x10 booths right next to each other at the Central Regional. And that's when I was competing, and then I'd run back to the booth in between heats.
Nice.
I'd be all sweaty and chalky and stinky and trying to sell clothes. And Matt was right next to me, so we met. Our brands had started like literally within months of each other, and we've been buddies ever since. So he's obviously done well for himself and is an incredible influencer in the community. So. When he got into the Wodapalooza game, we ran into each other and said, hey, man, I know this is a wild idea, but what do you think about us being in the mix for Wodapalooza? And at the time for us, that was a massive investment. Still is. But
I can't even imagine.
For me as a business owner, that was like, all right, this is like
hero. This is all in.
This is literally hero or zero moment as an owner and CEO. But I was like, this is an incredible event. If you want to gain credibility in the space, you got to take chances like that, and you got to be entrenched in what's going on, and nothing embodies that more than Wodapalooza. I don't know if you've ever been down there, but it's
I have
wild.
not. I was gonna go this year. We had a little mix up with schedules and stuff like that. Ended up not going, but I think we're gonna go down there next year and just podcast for like 3 or 4 days.
Oh yeah,
so
it's incredible. That final heat down there, when you literally the stands are at capacity. And the final heat is a games heat. If you go to the games and it's the final 10 girls, 10 guys, whatever, that's what it is at Wodapalooza.
Yeah.
So it's wild, man.
That's awesome. There was something else I was going to ask you. I forgot what it was. Oh, it was on the business aspect. So obviously you guys have, by whatever metric you want to go by, have been able to scale to some degree successfully, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that a lot of gym owners struggle with, myself as well, admittedly. And I always think, so a lot of our listenership is either coaches or affiliate owners. So clearly you guys didn't get to this point without kind of having some missteps along the way. Are there any that like big ticket kind of like lessons learned that you could give to affiliate owners to be like, this is, here's something from what we went through that'll kind of help you guys out?
I don't think any huge mistakes that would relate to affiliate owners. If there was another apparel company, I could probably speak to them more directly, like very specific apparel related stuff.
Yeah.
But, I think as business owners, you can't forget to win the small battles, right? And I mean that with just basic human interactions. Like when I'm at an event and I'm working the booth, like, I've been doing this 6 years, I'm still just that one-on-one interaction I have with a customer. They might not know I'm the owner, like is so important because that multiplied over 6 years builds a loyal customer base. Same thing with our customer service emails. Like I always tell the girls, hey, every single interaction you have with a customer, that might be their first ever interaction and maybe only interaction with Born Primitive, and they have to leave with a positive interaction. And as a gym owner, I would assume that would be
Very
hugely
much the
same, right? You get a especially someone who hasn't done CrossFit, they come in, they're kind of skeptical. They see a bunch of shirtless dudes and girls in sports bras slamming barbells.
Scared.
You know what I mean? And connecting with them on a personal level and making them feel a part of what's going on. And, I think people forget, like, you got to get back to the basics of just winning customers the old-fashioned way.
It's being nice, man.
It's just like, when you go to a restaurant, let's say the manager comes around, touches your table and says, hey, how was everything today? And you're like, wow, that was, for me, that always means a lot.
Yeah,
Even
I always
I
appreciate
didn't need it. And it's kind of like taking that mentality. And no matter how big we get, I'm always going to have that. I'm never going to be too good to go work an event and like help put up the booth and with our power drill. All these other companies got people coming in and they're paying crews. I'm like, no, we're never going to be too good to do our own booth.
I feel so. You've obviously been to the games, and I've worked the games for the past 6 years as a judge, I think. And one of the most incredible things every year that I watch at the games has literally nothing to do with the athletes. Watching Bill and Katie Henniger walk around
I've heard this.
and work their, like, it is not weird to find one of them with a drill or a wrench in their hand or hauling equipment. And this is the biggest brand in CrossFit. And I think everybody should take that approach. Like, as a gym owner, you should never be too busy to clean the floor or stop and help somebody. And the same thing, I'm sure it sounds like you take the same approach, which is like, listen, yeah, I'm the owner, I'm the CEO, but that doesn't mean I can't get my hands dirty and help out here. Like, 100%. I think that's a big deal.
Yeah, I think it comes down to just not forgetting your roots. You know what I mean? And that's awesome. That story is a great one that you reference. And I would say the second thing, with any organization is culture, right? You're building a team brick by brick, and you need to make sure, especially as you're small, one person could affect that culture pretty drastically. If you got 500 employees, you bring in one bad egg, okay, you're probably going to be okay. But when we got 15, every person I bring in, I want to make sure they align with the culture, and they're going to continue to kind of build that unique workplace. And I know that would be especially important at a gym as well with your coaching staff. And we try to kind of have that culture embodied in where we, people can't see right now, but we're in our little private gym here, and we got.
Yeah, this is legit. So they have a warehouse on one side, and the other side, it's basically. It's a CrossFit gym. It's about the same. It's about the size. This is actually, what is this, about 3,000 square feet? Like just this side? Right here?
Yeah, this is about 3,000.
Yeah, so this is the exact size of our first gym that I was in.
So I made the decision. Let's outfit half this place when a brand new gym because I want them to be able to come work out, and that's a part of the culture of our brand. And then with the walls, you see, there's, for people who can't see, there's a mural of D-Day, guys coming out of the landing craft with some pretty wild quotes. And then we have a big 9/11 wall mural. It says "Never forget, never forgive." 9/11/01. For some people that probably seems pretty intense.
I was going to ask you about that. You guys did get a little flack for that.
We did,
a while back, which is
I
didn't really
surprised.
understand it, but
so we did a 9/11 hero workout here.
Yeah.
And a bunch of my guys from work came and we did it, and guys rocked their body armor, and it's meant to remember, but also like. For us that are in that line of work, let us remember why we're doing it. And a lot of us, I was in 8th grade when that happened. If you talk to a lot of dudes that are in now when they were my age, that's the reason we ended up joining the military.
Yeah.
So for some people that don't live in that world, it might seem a little weird. Like, why do they have a big mural of 9/11? And that's a little intense. It definitely is intense, but it's kind of by design because those guys actually come in here and work out.
Yeah.
And I want people to know, a little bit of a reminder. You maybe that day you walk in where you're not quite as motivated. You give it a glance and you're like, all right, check. I'm good to go.
Yeah, no, I didn't really have a problem with it. I was just like, people are just being butthurt. But, it is one of those things where you look at it and be like, hey, I think every once in a while you do need a reminder of something.
Yeah.
Like something that kind of really sticks out that just says, hey, my day's not that bad.
Yeah.
Or shit could always be worse,
100%.
or we're going to suck it up and get it done, like whatever it is. So I think everybody should have like something that they have, like whether it's something you have on your desk. Like I've got stuff around my office, stuff like that. That's just basically like, don't be a bitch.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
yeah.
stuff like that. So
yeah, absolutely.
as far as culture and stuff like that, was that always? So we're not going to deep dive in it, but like, is that something you learned and acquired?
Yeah,
Sometimes people pick it up from
I would
athletics.
say, I played football in college, so
Okay.
that was, it definitely, that mindset's important there, like in the locker room, and obviously it carries out on the field. And then I actually worked for Red Bull for 4 years out of college before I joined the military.
What'd you do for them?
I did marketing for them.
This all makes sense.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
There you
So
go.
that
Okay.
was a really cool brand to work for, and
Yeah.
they were big on culture.
Yeah.
If you went out to their headquarters in Santa Monica, like you'd walk in there, they had like a giant skate ramp going down the center. They had Formula One cars and dirt bikes, and just really cool. It was just a really cool vibe.
Yeah.
And they were big on that. The culture being a big. I think it leads to more productivity, and people feel like they're a
Yeah.
part of something cool, and you retain your employees because they feel like they're a part of it.
They're happy.
So I kind of got a good exposure from building that culture from like a business owner standpoint from that. And then, obviously we built this, it was just a few of us for the first few years.
Yeah.
But in the last couple of years, we've hired like 12, 13 employees, and then
That's
a bunch
awesome.
of people that are part-time too. And every person that comes to the door, we want to make sure that's, they feel a part of that.
That's
and
really
it doesn't
cool.
mean we all have to be the same. Doesn't mean everyone has to come in here and slam barbells after work every day. But, it's not a bad thing if they do.
Well, I ask because CrossFit's very similar, and I don't know if that has anything to do with, because obviously Dave Castro was in the teams, and then he was a very pivotal piece of building what is now kind of the seminar staff. And having spent a lot of time in the military and in that community myself, doing support for those guys, there's a lot of similarities with like the filtering process and how people evaluate, their peers and stuff like that. And it's pretty aggressive as far as like the expectation for performance. And I've always found that like I find that to be very unique. And then when you leave that culture or you try to implement it elsewhere, it doesn't always go so well.
Yeah.
I've had people ask me, they're like, I don't know how people work here. And not because I'm a dick, but because it's the standard. Like, I'm not changing it.
100%.
You know what I mean?
think a lot of guys, it sounds like, and I'm not out yet, but when guys get out and they run businesses, their biggest point of frustration is going from that world where there are very clear expectations, and people typically adhere to that, and then you get into the civilian world and you're like, holy shit, like who are these people, and like why can't I just remediate them, or you know what I mean? Like this, it's a different world.
I had a buddy who's over at had a buddy who's a good buddy of mine who's over at Dam Neck, and he was like, he's doing some stuff when he got out, and he was just like, dude, how do you get people to just do their job? And I was like, well, my friend, you lived in basically what is La La Land for the past like 15 years, where everybody is a performer alpha, and that unfortunately is not the norm.
Yeah, no. 100%.
That's really, really cool. What I also wanted to ask you guys, because you've obviously done a good job here as far as like breeding culture, and it's clear that you take very seriously that your brand is about something. So what is it that Born Primitive is about, or what is it that you want in your vision as far as like what separates you from other brands, right? So because like big thing in apparel, like I don't think it's and gyms in general is like brand loyalty. It's just like people buy Nike or whatever or Reebok because they're loyal to that brand for whatever reason. So what is it about Born Primitive that you hope people kind of take away from?
I think there's probably three parts of it. From a brand standpoint, number one would kind of be the patriotic angle. That's a big part of who we are, and giving back to the military and first responder communities, and then obviously the spouses and the families that are associated with that. That's our roots, and we live it every day. I think the second aspect would be what we got into earlier about kind of that primitive mindset and just getting after it. I think our society has gotten pretty entitled, and people like to make excuses and reasons why they didn't, achieve this and that, and that amps me up because I think at the end of the day, when you're making excuses, you could have just been shutting your mouth and just getting after it and moving towards that goal, whatever that is. And it doesn't have to be something gym related. That same mindset applies for life, right?
Yeah.
So we try to kind of embrace that mentality of like no excuses. that relentless pursuit of your dreams, whatever that is. And then the physical side, that should carry over to the gym. We embrace an active lifestyle, and we encourage others to do as well. But I think it can transcend just the mindset in the gym.
Yeah.
And kind of through our marketing materials and the athletes we align with and some of the the content we put out, I hope that we portray that. And then the last side of it, which you can't forget, that is just trying to make good product. You want your customers to be happy with what they're buying, and you want them to come back not only because they like what you stand for, but hey, this is really good shit.
Yeah.
And I think if you can accomplish both of those, then you have a recipe for success.
Yeah.
Because then your customer retention goes way up, and you can actually start building something special.
That's really cool. What is the toughest part about running an apparel company?
I think right now for us, like our biggest challenge is inventory, because we have over this is crazy, like 1,100 products right now that we offer. So
1,100 individual SKUs?
Yes. No, well, if you do SKUs, it'd be like 6,000, because technically a SKU is a specific size.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
1,100 styles of products, and for us, we like to keep the customers excited. So we do collection launches typically every quarter. So spring, summer, fall, winter, and then there'll be some other random ones that come throughout the year. And with that, it's probably 70, 80 new styles that happen every time. And we've gotten to the point where we felt obligated to always restock old styles because they're still selling and people still love them. And you get a little bit attached to them, and you got to be able to just be like, all right, we're never selling this again, or maybe it's 5 years from now we'll re-release it.
Yeah.
And the OGs will remember it when we restock it. You know what I mean? Something like that. And we're kind of shifting gears on that. And we're realizing, okay, we can't sustain this, because next year I can't have 2,500 styles, and you know what I mean? It's just
so much.
And you look behind you, you can see all the inventory.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
For those that are not looking at this, there's probably boxes stacked 20 feet high for about 50 feet. So
yeah.
There's no shortage of stuff.
We're dug in for the zombie apocalypse. If you can live on hoodies and sports bras, we're set.
If joggers are going to save the world, you guys are good. That's really cool.
I think that's the biggest thing we're kind of working through right now, is kind of recalibrating our focus to be okay with doing a limited release and then moving on, and just, but it is hard because we're like, but it's so cool, and like,
I think it's one of those. It's probably like a little bit of a double-edged sword, because people have short attention spans, so you kind of constantly have to put something new in front
100%.
of people's eyes. Or just even if who, obviously everybody knows who's crushing that. Like Noble is a perfect example of that, which is like, when I look at that company, I'm like, talk about a company who basically made 3 products and then just put different designs on the exact same 3 products.
And they're still doing that.
Still doing it. And I'm like, this is brilliant.
Yep.
They just come, it's like 3 pairs of shoes they have, and they just put different prints on them. So it's brilliant. Last thing, how hard was it to get the rest of the team to buy off on the jorts?
Oh, so I didn't ask for any buy-off. So honestly, that was an idea that actually happened on deployment. We were just joking around, and we had some stretchy jeans, and one of the guys cut them, and we were like, "Oh, Barry, you should make those." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" And I was like, so just as a joke, I was like, "All right, I'll make 100 pairs." And then I got 100 pairs, and they sold out in 2 hours. Not even. It was out of control. So then I bought 500, and that. So that has been an absolutely hilarious development. But they're actually, for those that have them, I love working out in them, because it's like.
I got a team guy at my gym who wears them. I don't even know if he washes them. He just shows up in them every day. I'm like, how many pairs of those
it just feels like a really awesome pair of compression shorts, but you only have to wear those. You know what I mean? Typically I wear compression shorts under my shorts, but you almost feel naked walking around the gym. And then, wearing them to the beach and to the tailgates and stuff, because they're so stretched. I mean, they're actually super comfortable.
That's awesome.
While it started as a joke, functionality-wise, they're actually awesome. And then we have the camo ones coming out too. So we have woodland and
when does
desert.
That drop?
And, next month. So they're for pre-order right now. They're supposed to come in early May is the delivery. So those will be out of control. And we might even get into some more patterns. But, that has been
that's awesome.
A random development that started literally as a joke and just kind of grew legs. And
that's amazing. But that's how some of the really cool products happen. They're like, we didn't that actually wasn't how we were going to do this whole thing, but then it just took off.
100%.
So I know I was an ambassador for Lulu for a couple years, and every time we would do an ambassador meeting, I'd be like, listen, I don't know why you guys won't listen to me, but you need to sell some fucking jeans. You could take over the world if you guys would just sell jeans.
Yeah,
they should. Well, it's not our thing. And I'm like, you're blowing it. I don't know what to tell you. So,
you're absolutely right.
So we'll kind of wrap this up, but just a little bit more details on the Community Coalition? Am I blowing
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay. So just as far as like what Born Primitive is doing, it's 50%, and it's not limited to any products, right?
Yep.
So it's site-wide.
Site-wide.
Okay.
Yeah, bornprimitive.com, just
Okay.
our main site. We have
Yep.
international sites, but
Yep.
just main, bornprimitive.com. It's for all affiliates in the U.S. and Canada. But yeah, every gym has a custom promo code. You can search it on our website. You just type in your name, and if you have a code, it'll pop up. If it's not there, you just submit an inquiry. We'll get back to you right away with your own code. You promote it to your gym, and from now until April 5th, if they use that code and make a purchase to get free shipping, at the very end of all this, we're going to run the numbers, and you're going to get 50% of our profits from all those sales. So
That's really cool.
that's a big percentage. It's a bold move, and I was like, maybe we'll do 20, and I was like, screw it. 50-50. Well, that's a fair deal. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you go in a deal with a buddy, like, all right, bro,
It's probably
50-50.
unfair to you guys, to be honest with you. Like,
At the end of the day,
by the numbers.
at the end of the day, that gym owner's getting the exact same thing I got, and I was like, you know what? I think that's a fair deal. And it's aggressive. And I'm really hoping at the end of this, man, we can be sending some pretty good side checks to these owners, and it really doesn't take that much sales for them to get a pretty good chunk back.
Yeah.
So if they have a couple hundred members and everyone makes one purchase, like, man, that could be rent for a couple months maybe.
I'm going to send out another couple emails.
Yeah.
So where can affiliates find the marketing material that you guys have generated?
So we are going to start emailing that out over the weekend.
Okay.
We're probably going to go back through, and if they just found their code and they didn't reach out to us, they can hit us up at contact@bornprimitive.com and request those marketing materials.
Okay.
And we'll reply back with it, real quick. So
I'm going to go do that after we do it, just because one of my members did it. And then, so this is going to launch, this podcast is going to drop on the 28th. So that was what, like 7 days, a full week for people to get in on that.
Still plenty of time.
So, but so gym owners, push it out to your members, buy some shit. Everybody's, sitting in their house doing nothing anyway. So Corona will be over at some point, and then everybody's going to have fresh gear, and the gyms will still be open.
Yeah,
so,
and like I said, go hit it up at O2 as well, so be hydrated at the same time.
Yep.
They've been huge allies in this too. So again, the same code works for both sites, which is really neat.
That's
awesome.
Keeps
it really simple.
Well, listen, brother, as an affiliate owner, thank you guys for what you do. I think this is just a really, really kick-ass idea. And on behalf of all the affiliate owners and the coaches and athletes all over, thank you guys. This is really amazing.
Oh, yeah. Well, appreciate you letting me come on the podcast. And, from, like I said earlier, you guys are the reason we exist. Our brand was born in this space. So I'm hoping it'll be something that moves the needle. And, we'll get through this. We just got to stick together and help each other out.
Cool.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. How cool is that? There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, so it becomes super simple. Some of these episodes with Fern or Todd or myself chatting with one another, we've done right within the app itself. Anchor will make it easy to distribute your podcast to all platforms, Spotify, Apple, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make an awesome podcast in one place. All you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Come on, who doesn't have Spotify at this point? And if you were unaware, Spotify now is offering podcasts. That's right. On Spotify, you can listen to all your favorite artists, but also podcasts in one place for free. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now, Best Hour of Their Day. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcasts so you never miss an episode. Premium users can even download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, something I always do before I hop on a plane. And you can even easily share what you're listening to with your friends on Instagram and other social media platforms. Here's the deal. If you haven't done so already, be sure to download the Spotify app, search for Best Hour of Their Day on Spotify, or browse some other podcasts if you want. You can find them in your library tab. And also make sure to follow me so you never miss an episode of Best Hour of Their Day. Thanks again for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. And thanks again to our special guest, We appreciate all you guys do for us with best hour of their day when it comes to sharing our posts on Instagram, when it comes to subscribing to us on YouTube, when it comes to the constant feedback. We are grateful and we appreciate it. We are trying to build a community based on coaching development and becoming the best version of yourself. And it goes without saying that we couldn't do without all of you. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Season 1 of Dropping In is out. We are getting tremendous feedback and we'd love for you to check it out. Leave us a comment on there. Head over to our Instagram. Give us a follow. Like our pictures. Feel free to share anything that resonates with you. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or feedback for us, please don't hesitate. Email us besthouroftheirday@gmail.com. Thanks again. Until the next episode, we hope you've had the best hour of your day.